It's 10 p.m. and I just got home. This is my thing, okay? You cannot pay me enough to make me abandon my peace. No lighting is good. No lighting is good right now. There's no good lighting. I love that for me. Here's the thing. You couldn't pay me. Hey. You could not pay me to freaking stay out longer than I want to stay out, to party longer than I want to party. I'm sorry, I am 29. Okay, I am 29. And my therapist, we're going on a rant. My therapist has taught me that boundaries are boundaries. You don't obstruct boundaries. Okay? And the boundaries that I have put in place for my life, they're staying. They don't go away. Look at that cute little curl. They don't go away, okay? So, like, boundaries for going to bed at a certain time, boundaries for just living a certain lifestyle. I just will not. I just want. Also, I was like at the club today. I want you to stay. Down in the grave. That's in the wrong key. I went. Okay, so the story is my cousin's in town. Okay, I have one cousin that lives here, and then I have like 5 other cousins. I don't even know how many cousins I have. I'm gonna be real because this is the thing. Oh no. This is the thing. My mom's side of the family, which is the only side that I have cousins on because my dad's an only child. My mom's side of the family, I don't know them very well because we just didn't grow up hanging out with them. We grew up in another state while they kind of all stayed in the same area. Why is my nose dripping? While like the rest of the family all stayed in the South. My mom moved to Texas, and so I grew up in Texas. We grew up in Texas. 5 kids grew up in Texas. And then all of my mom's siblings, they all raised their kids in like Alabama, Tennessee, Florida, like that whole vibe, right? So like I want something, fruit. I was like, I want something to nibble on. I didn't meet really like, I didn't like hang out with any of my cousins, because we never lived near each other. Okay, so that was just like the vibe. So also, I got some fruit from Aldi, and it has been the worst fruit I've ever bought in my life. So I'm back to Whole Foods. I went to Aldi once, and it's all moldy. Like, it's literally all moldy, and I've only had it for a couple days. Anyway, basically my cousin's in town, and I never see him, okay? So, my other cousin that lives here in Nashville asked me to go hang out with them. And I was like, yeah, of course. But apparently they hung out on Monday, and I like misread the text and didn't realize that they hung out with each other on Monday. Because I had that massage on Monday, obviously. I didn't freaking realize that they were hanging out. I like misread the text. This lighting just cannot do me any favors, okay? I misread the text, and so I didn't realize that they were hanging out on Monday. And so the only time I was able to hang out with them was today, which is Wednesday. Guys, first of all, I had so much fun. So good to see my family. I never get to see my family. The only family I grew up with was my immediate family. So really nice to see my actual family. My cousin was incredible. My cousin was like, if you ever need anything, like, you let me know. Like, I'm here for you. I was like, literally about to burst down in tears, okay? Second of all, he was in an accident in February, and I had no idea. I'm so thankful he's alive. Third of all, they live in Milwaukee, and I'm going to Chicago in August. So we're going to hang out. So basically, I have a brother that lives in Chicago. My family relationships are not healthy for me, okay? The dynamic of my family is not healthy for me, okay? So my therapist and I've talked about numerous times establishing boundaries. So I'm going to Chicago in August because the flights were free. And my brother lives there, but I'm not staying with him. No, I'm not staying with my brother. For reasons I will not disclose, okay? But it is not good for me if I stay with my brother. So I put down a boundary. And I am not staying in his apartment. I am staying at a hotel. Causes a whole ruckus with my family. You know, my brother's like, why would you do that? My cousin's like, that's weird. I'm like, it's not weird. It's actually not weird when you don't know the dynamic of our relationship. And so, my therapist said that the number one people that hate her are her patient's family. It's always the patient's families reaching out saying, like, you're destroying this family, you're tearing this family apart. And it's because they're unhealthy and don't understand what healthy relationships are. And they hate when someone puts up boundaries and starts creating healthy environments for themselves. And I was like, well, that's tea. That's actually tea. And I'm really sorry, you guys, that this lighting is really bad. But that's actually tea because it's so frustrating. It's so frustrating having people in your life, close people in your life, aka family, who have a connection with you that is blood. It is literally deeper than any connection you will ever have besides like a spouse. And it's something you don't choose. Like a spouse you choose, but your family you can't choose. It's just given to you. And to have your family constantly invade your boundaries and your personal space and touch you when you don't want to be touched and talk to you when you don't want to be spoken to and completely obliterate any sense of individuality, like any ownership over myself, just people just completely obliterating that. It's the worst feeling ever in the world because these are the people that are supposed to be the closest to you, but they are not respecting any sort of personal, like you and your being, personal boundaries. They just do whatever they want to you. They do whatever they want to you. And it is the scariest feeling. It's the scariest feeling. And I don't like that feeling. Rightfully so. And I was raised in a household that was like that. And so I have a lot of boundaries when it comes to my family. I have a lot of boundaries. I have 4 older siblings. And I do not allow them to cross my boundaries. And they don't like it. They don't like it. They don't like it. Look how weird my skin looks right there on my forehead. My siblings don't like it. They think I'm snooty. They think I'm a bitch. They think I am stuck up because I don't like to be treated like shit. And it's just really frustrating because unhealthy people will Neville Longbottom. Unhealthy people will never look at healthy behavior and think good of it. Like, unhealthy people will look at healthy behavior and they'll find something wrong with it. You know what I mean? So it's just a whole thing. And like, I stopped drinking, obviously. I've said that a million times on this channel, but I have stopped drinking. And it is, like, truthfully one of the best decisions I've ever made. And, well, not one of the best decisions. It's one of the greatest decisions I've made that I'm, like, thankful that I made. I don't know if it's the best decision I've ever made because I don't think I've seen really, like, the true results of it. I feel like after a year of being sober, I will see a lot of results, but, like, I'll see a lot of things in hindsight. But I've been sober now for 4 months. April, May, July, 3.5 months. And I mean, it feels so much longer. That's the weirdest thing. Like, I stopped drinking, I think, April 10th, and it's now July, and it feels so much longer. But I don't know. I think it's because I don't have any substances to just, like, black things out. Like, I really do have to deal with everything myself, sober minded. And, like, honestly, so, like, I hung out with my family today, and they were all drinking. And it's really weird because they all drink, but all of their parents don't drink, which is really weird because, so this is my mom's side. So my mom, all of her siblings, she has 3 older siblings, none of them drink, but all of their kids drink. And then my mom drank, and, like, I don't know if she ever stopped drinking, but, like, my dad drinks too, and addiction runs in my dad's family. And I don't know if addiction runs in my mom's family at all because none of her siblings drink. And I don't know anything about my grandmother or my grandfather. Like, I don't know if they drank. But my dad, alcoholism runs in his family. And my dad drinks a lot. And all of my siblings drink a lot. Like, a lot. And I used to drink a lot. I used to drink so much. What's really weird is I never had a gauge for like how much to drink because I didn't grow up around parents that drank. So I didn't realize that, like, a normal amount was like 1 to 3 drinks. For me, I was like, oh, I'm having 7, 8 drinks. Like, that was so normal for me. And I just didn't have any gauge of, like, what drunk felt like and what tipsy felt like. And I would just get what's really weird is, like, my mom, this is what my mom says. My mom says drunk is like you're falling over and you're forgetting things and you can't speak. Other than that, you're just tipsy. So then I was just like, oh, I'm always tipsy. Like, I'm just tipsy because I've still to this day, I've never blacked out. I have thrown up a few times, especially the older I got. Like, once I got past 26, I would throw up if I drank too much. And drinking too much would be like 3 or 4 drinks, and sometimes I would throw up. Like, that's just how my body started responding to alcohol. But I was never, like, blacking out or getting, like, super drunk to where I can't stand or can't speak or anything. So I was like, I'm fine. I would get, if you guys know what Bullet is, it's a bourbon. I would get, like, the medium-sized bottle. So, like, not the smallest one, because I think the smallest one's, like, pretty small. It was, like, the next one. I can't remember how many ounces it was. I would drink, like, half of that bottle. I would be partying, you know, and I was fine, quote unquote. I'm like, what? And then when I would, like, when I graduated college and I would go out with friends and stuff, I'd be having 6, 7 drinks, like, and I was doing fine, like, quote unquote, right? Like, now I look back and I'm like, girl, like, you were drinking too much. You're definitely inebriated to a certain extent. But back in the day, like, I was so young, like, I was thriving. My body was so young. Like, it didn't feel that way. Like, it didn't feel like I was inebriated. Isn't that crazy? Like, so crazy. So now I, like, look at my siblings and, like, they drink a lot. Like, my brother's 36 and he was drinking. And, like, the cousin I was hanging out with today was, like, 42 and he was drinking. And my other cousin's, like, 36 as well and they're drinking. And I'm just like, how are y'all doing this, though? Because, and one of my cousins I know doesn't drink a lot. My brother drinks a lot. I don't know how much the other cousin drinks, but, like, for the cousin that doesn't drink a lot, I'm like, how are you doing this? Like, because here's the thing. Recently, I was becoming so sensitive to alcohol. Like, there were sometimes, I'm not kidding you, this is so embarrassing. Sometimes I would have one drink and I'd be like, I'm drunk. Like, like, what is going on? And I live in Tennessee where they do heavy pours. So, like, maybe that's it. But I just reached a point where I was like, and anytime I drink, it's too much. Like, it doesn't matter how much I'm drinking, it's always too much. And so that really got me thinking about stopping drinking. And my cousin's wife asked me today, she was like, why did you stop drinking? And that's the one thing that I always hear from people is like, when you stop eating cheese or like when you stop eating gluten, like nobody really asks why. When you're like, oh, I don't eat gluten, they're like, oh, okay, no one cares. But if you say you don't drink alcohol, everyone asks why. And I just think that's like American culture, or just culture in general. But she asked me why. I think she was just like genuinely curious. Like, she was so nice about it. But she was just asking why. And I was like, I hate answering that question. I hate answering that question because the reason why is because it's so bad for you. And literally every single person that asks me this question is someone that's literally drinking while they're asking me it, because most of the times we're out drinking, like we're going out and I'm not getting alcohol. So they're like, oh, do you not drink alcohol? And I'm like, no. And they're like, why? And I'm always like, I don't know how to answer this question. Like, I literally don't know how to answer it, because if I say like, oh, health problems, people think I have like heart problems or something. I'm like, that's not why. And just because I don't know how, like, I'm prioritizing my health. Like, I don't know. But the real answer is like, alcohol is so bad for you. It's terrible for your, like, when your brain develops patterns, it's terrible for your brain and like the patterns that you create. And it just creates this like awful addictive like cycle where you're like, oh, I want more drinks, even if you only drink once a week. Like, I did all this research and because like I said, I was starting to get sick from drinking, like, I would say minimal amounts, you know what I mean? And it was starting to get sick, and it was just starting to affect me like a lot, like really heavily. And my hangovers were getting really bad. And I was just like, I felt like I was getting to the point where I was like allergic to alcohol or something. So I was like, what is wrong? Like, what is going on? And that's where I started doing research. And then after I did the research, I spent like a weekend just watching like a ton of videos on alcohol and what it does to you, and like doctors talking about how your body processes alcohol. And that was enough for me. That was it. Like, after that weekend, I was like, I'm not drinking. And I haven't. Sorry, I haven't since. I've had one sip of alcohol since then because my friend made a drink and she was like really proud of it. And it was like, in that instance, I'm like, oh, I'll try it because she made it and she made it for everyone there. And I was like, whatever. So I took a sip of it. That's it. And even just that one sip, I was like, holy crap. Like, I feel like my system has like completely reset. Like, because the taste of that alcohol was like, oh my gosh. And I don't like, it's not that I'm never going to drink alcohol ever again. Like, I definitely want to drink wine in the future. Like, I'm going to France in the fall and I want to drink wine. Like, I want to have glasses of wine while I'm there. I don't think I'm going to drink a lot while I'm there because to me, like, I like wine. I like the taste of wine. It is enjoyable for me. I'm not drinking it to get drunk. I'm drinking it because for me, it's like a whole experience. It's almost like coffee. Like, I drink coffee to get energized, but also because I like the taste and I like the experience and I enjoy coffee culture. That's how I feel about wine. Like, I'm drinking it to relax, whatever, but also for the taste and the vibes, especially when you pair it with really good food. So, like, that's how I feel about wine, but I'm like planning that out. Like, I go to Europe in September, so I am drinking in September. And then I'm like, I think I'll have wine at my wedding, whenever the frick that is. Like, I just, anyway, I got on this random tangent, but I love you guys. I need to take a shower and go to bed. It's 10:30 and my bedtime is 9 p.m. So I love you guys. Sorry about going on this rant about family and family trauma and alcoholism and addiction issues. If you guys can relate at all, please leave a comment down below, because sometimes I do feel crazy when I'm like around people and I put up my boundaries and they think I'm crazy. Like, me not staying with my brother because it's healthier for me to stay at a hotel and I'm looked at like I'm crazy. Like, I'm a 30-year-old woman. I don't want to stay with my brother in his studio apartment. Like, it's so hard to explain to people that just don't get it. But anyway, love you guys. I love y'all so much. Thank you for subscribing. I'm sorry this video is going up so late. It's making me sad, but gotta do what you gotta do. I'm doing the thumbnail right now. I'm just kidding. Love you guys. See you later.